Good afternoon, meteorologist Joe Winters live here in the TV9 Weather Lab. Let's go right to Max 1 right now. We have a tornado warning that has been issued. Notice the red box that's down through the south. That is across areas of Iowa and Johnson County. This is a tornado warning that is currently in effect for portions of Benton as well as Iowa and Johnson County. You can see the areas and we'll pinpoint it for you. There was an observed tornado near the Conroy area earlier as this system continues to move just to the north of Williamsburg. System itself continues to head off toward the east-northeast. Hannah, how fast was that system moving?
It says that the system is moving
northeast about 35 miles per hour.
Thanks, Jen. Northeast at 35 miles per hour. So again, this was a tornado that was observed 2 miles southeast of Conroy. Again, moving toward the northeast at 35 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and put a storm track on there for you, and we'll kind of keep the warning in effect. So if you're in the Amanas, Norway right now, you're going to want to be in the lookout for this storm as it continues to cross Highway 151 as well as Highway 220. We'll go ahead and again pinpoint that area where that was occurring, and we said 35 miles per hour. So again, not a incredibly fast movement with these storms as we'd expect. As we move it out, this would be for about the next 20 minutes or so. That would take us right to about 2:30. Looks like middle Amana. That storm arrives about 2:09. Amana at 2:12 or 2:11. The Amana RV Park and Event Center at 2:12. East Amana about 2:14. If it continues on its current track about 2:21, it would arrive in Walford. Again, this is a tornado warning in effect until 2:30 for portions of Benton, Johnson, and Iowa counties. Let's go ahead and clear the storm track for you and kind of pinpoint the entire area. And if I can talk to our control room, we are going to widen that shout out if we can. We have meteorologist Jan Reiher joining us at the weather desk as well. Meteorologist Hannah Messier is here in the weather lab as well. So we are going to be utilizing 3 microphones, and we'll be utilizing all of our MAX systems. We'll help call it out for you as we continue to move forward with this system. Just go ahead and take a look at what the velocity looks like. And again, not overly impressive, but probably a little bit just near, off to the northeast of Williamsburg right now. There's a little bit of spin in the atmosphere that takes us just south of High Amana. Again, this was a confirmed tornado located over Conroy, which was near Marengo, moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. As we talked about through the day, and I know we hit on yesterday and through the day today, there was a threat for severe weather, very conditional threat, but that threat was there. Between now and about 4 o'clock, that threat does remain with us. We had enough instability in some spots to allow the shear or the spin in the atmosphere, which was there, to really kind of turn and come toward the ground. And that's apparently what we're seeing right now in the near Marengo area, just off, it looks like just off to the east of Marengo as that storm continues to move off to the east-northeast at about 35 miles per hour. Get a little closer look for you right now, and you can see that system moving near the Amanas right now, heading off across areas to the north. Let's go ahead and put this on, give us a better idea on the road conditions that we're seeing. And we'll zoom back in for you and pinpoint that warning. Again, it's one very isolated area right now. Okay, there we go. The road's back on. You can see that is just south of Highway 6, very near East Amana right now. If you are in these areas, you certainly want to be in your safe area. Make sure you are taking shelter. Homestead, High Amana, right along Highway 151. That's exactly where the storm continues to move. And as we always tell you, when severe thunderstorms and tornadoes move through, make sure you are getting to your safe place. That safest place, of course, is in a basement, under something sturdy. Make sure that you are covering yourself with blankets or pillows, waiting for that storm to pass. Again, we don't see any change in direction right now. That movement continues off toward the east-northeast at about 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, so for those who are just tuning in, again, there is a tornado warning. It does include parts of Benton County as well as Johnson County and Iowa County for us. So that's northwestern Johnson County, southeastern Benton County, and northeastern Iowa County. That's going to be until 2:30 p.m. for us here. If we check out Max 2, you can see kind of the motion of that system here as it continues to drift off to the north and east. So again, not really a lot happening with this, but this was a confirmed tornado that was reported. So if you are in this area, yes, it is January 16th, but there is a confirmed tornado that has been observed for parts of Benton, Iowa, and Johnson counties, just off to the north and east of Williamsburg, moving through the Amana's area, as Joe kind of highlighted all of the counties there. So north of I-80, but along kind of Highway 6 area. That's the area that we continue to watch.
Hannah, take a look at our Amana City Cam and take a look at our Marengo City Cam. Let me know if you're seeing anything. We'll go to that shot right away.
Sounds good.
Sorry, Jan.
Yeah, no, thank you. That would be great if we can check those out. So, yeah, that's what we continue to watch here. Again, flying debris possible with that observed system. Trying to see if we can see anything there on that city cam. Looks like you can see a bit of a lowering. It's kind of tough to see, though. It is pretty
obscured by some of the rain, as we can see, because there's some pretty heavy rain within this. But it needs to say, if you're in the Amanas right now, north of Williamsburg, you certainly want to be in your safe spot. Again, let's run down those safety rules for you. If we can go back to Max 1, tornado safety rules that you need to keep in mind. First of all, get to the lowest level you...
Joe, we have a new report from the NWS. We have a confirmed tornado located just over Upper South Amana, 7 miles east of Marengo. It's still moving northeast at 35 miles per hour.
Again, where we want you to go is to the lowest level of your home. Get under something sturdy. Grab your bike helmet, put that on. Cover yourself with blankets, pillows, towels. Avoid windows, doors, and outside walls. If no basement is available, make sure you get to a small interior room. Those are your safety precautions as this storm moves in. Again, a large area that is right now watching for that potential that the tornado is moving through, with potentially causing winds, as well as damage-causing rotation. Again, it's now north of Williamsburg. It does include the Amanas, as Hannah had mentioned. This goes until 2:30. If you're near the Homestead, the High Amana area, heading toward East Amana, those would be some of the areas that you want to be really on the lookout as the storm continues to pass through. That's kind of where we're seeing a little bit of the rotation in that area. You now see we've superimposed the Amana Colony City Cam along with our radar. We're continuing to watch that and kind of scan the skies from our Amana City Cam to see if we can find that confirmed tornado. Again, kind of watching as it continues to move up toward the Walford area. You want to be very, very close. It looks like it will pass to the southeast of the city of Norway, but along Highway 6 right now near the High Amana area and in the Amanas along Highway 151. You need to be in your safe shelter now. This includes those of you in South Amana, High Amana, Amana, Homestead. As we head along farther toward the north, along Amana Road Northwest, 110th Street as we head toward Walford. Storm itself, and we'll widen out the picture for you once again, moving off toward the east, northeast, at last count at about 35 miles per hour. Plenty of rotation within that storm. And again, that tornado in progress as it was developing near the Conroy area when we came on the air with you. And now, as we can see, watching it very, very carefully as it moves through the Amana area. If you see that in an area, make sure you are if you're in the warning area, make sure you are in your safe spot right now. There is no reason for you to be out. If you are seeing any damage reports or anything coming in, please reload those to our newsroom. We would greatly appreciate knowing what we're seeing. So far, I do not have any official damage reports coming in, but we continue to watch that very carefully as that storm moves through the Amanas right now, heading towards northern areas of Johnson County. So this will go to the west of the city of North Liberty. It will continue, though, toward the Eastern Iowa Airport. That's kind of next in line right now. They have not extended that warning yet, but if this confirmed tornado continues, they certainly will be extending that warning. Right now, it's the Amanas along Highway 151 and Highway 6. From Highway 6 all the way up to Highway 151, where we do once again find that occurring.
Yeah, so we continue to have that observed tornado. Again, we got another update in just 3 minutes ago that tornado is still being observed for us there near Upper South Amana. That's about 7 miles east of Marengo. Also, it looks like, yep, still being observed for us, just in a new update. So again, 8 miles now east of Marengo, moving to the northeast, about 35 miles per hour for that confirmed tornado on the ground. This does not mean that you need to go look and see if you can see the tornado because there is rain coming down. You're not going to be able to see it very well. That's why if you look at our city cam right now, you really can't tell that maybe there is a tornado on the ground. You can't see things blowing around because everything is obstructed by the clouds and the rain for us at this time. So we continue to see that area of rotation that we're going to continue to monitor. But if you are in this area of either Johnson County, Benton County, or off towards Iowa County, again, near the Amanas, that is what we're watching for, that potential for a tornado that is on the ground, has been observed, and there is also some hail with this that we've been watching as well. Looks like I'm seeing your velocity scan right there, Joe. Not looking at really, really good rotation. If you've followed our severe weather coverage before, you kind of know the classic bright greens and bright reds that we're looking for in that velocity scan. But again, this is January 16th. We're not going to see that classic signature that you would normally see from a big severe weather outbreak or something like that. This is just a very warm January day where we have enough instability for something like this to be able to form. So just because you're not seeing that classic radar signature that you might normally expect from something like this, we do still have that danger, as that has been observed, a tornado observed for Benton, Iowa, Johnson counties for us, and that's what we continue to watch. So it looks like you just put a storm track on there if you want to time that out.
Yep, 2:15 or so. That means right now in Amana, as we mentioned, and that was our last report as well. We also have about 2:17 moving toward East Amana as that storm continues to move through. That would take it very near the Walford area. As we move forward in time, it would also take us very near or just very close to the Eastern Iowa Airport as well. Let's get a Walford time on there for you. For those of you in Walford, probably about 2:24 is the expected arrival time of that storm as it moves and continues on. Again, there is plenty of shear in the atmosphere, and that means the winds are rotating in many different directions. And because of that, we have just enough instability, as Jan was mentioning, to allow that to come to the ground. We needed moisture. We got just enough moisture, those dew points in the 50s. Every ingredient came together right as this storm continues to move through. So again, this is a confirmed tornado that was moving near the Conroy area earlier, now continuing to move through the Amana area, heading up toward Walford by about 2:24. If you are in this warning area, particularly those areas that we have been mentioning, we hope you are in your safe spot. But just a reminder once again, where do you need to go? The lowest level you can get to safely in your home. Get under something sturdy. Grab your bike helmet, put it on. Cover yourself with blankets, pillows, or towels. Get under a heavy table, a small bench, under the stairs. Avoid windows, doors, and outside walls. If you can't get to a basement, a hallway, or an area, once again, that you can see once again that keeps you away from windows, doors, and outside walls is your best advice. Can we go full screen just on the Amana City Cam once and just kind of take a look at that? I wonder if we could get that up in just a second or two. Just asking our control room for that. Again, this is not expected to be a long lasting. It would be on max 3.
Yeah.
That would be on max 3. Thank you very much. Go ahead and pan that again, Hannah. Kind of look at that rain-free base area right now. If you can kind of look at that. Again, not seeing any real, there was lowering earlier we saw. Continuing to watch that very, very carefully. Probably in that rain obscured area is what I'm guessing is where that potential, where that tornado was confirmed earlier.
Yeah, Joe, we can see that really in our southeast.
Let's bring up Hannah's mic.
Yeah, Joe, we can really see in the southeastern part of the city cam. So our city cam currently facing in the southeast, and there's a lot of rain. And what we typically see with rain-wrapped tornadoes is that they can be pretty dangerous because you can't really see them. And that's what we're seeing on the Amana Colony city cam, a lot of rain really obscuring the clouds. So it is really hard to get a good picture of this tornado. So you really do want to be safe. Don't go outside looking for it. It's better to really be in your safe place. But right now on the Amana Colony city cam, we can see a lot of rain coming down in the distance. So it is kind of hard to get a really good picture of the actual tornado that's going through.
I understand we have some video we can take a look at of the tornado as it was passing over the Interstate 80 near the Williamsburg, as well as Amana exit. Yeah, there you see it. You can see it. That lowering we talk about, Jan pointed that out early on our city cam, and you can see it right there in the distance. Again, this was earlier near the Williamsburg Amana exit. Over on Interstate 80, that was the confirmed tornado. As we can see, some video of it there. Looks like quite a large tornado from this distance to see. And just asking our newsroom now, have we had any reports of any damage reports that we've had in from the Williamsburg, Amana area? Okay, nothing in right now, but our news crews are certainly working on that and will continue to do so as we move through the afternoon hours. But there you see, that again was a little bit earlier, the confirmed tornado itself near the areas, near the Amana area, the exit as it crossed Interstate 80.
It does look like, looking at chat, that that tornado may have briefly lifted for us, but that does not mean this tornado warning is going to be canceled. This is still in effect for us here. That danger is still very much present. Tornadoes will do that where they can kind of cycle through. They'll lift and then drop back down. So do want to pass along that's information that we're getting in. But again, by all means, if you are in this area, do not think that you are home free. So let's just kind of highlight again where we're looking here. Again, this is north parts of Benton and Johnson County and Iowa County for us. Actually, southern Benton County, northern Iowa and Johnson counties, moving towards Lynn County, the eastern Iowa airport. Lynn County not in this right now, but if this does get reissued, Lynn County will certainly be included. So if you're watching in that area, do know there it is. It just got continued for us. So let's go check out what our new warning looks like. We've got now Benton, Iowa, Johnson, and Lynn counties. That does include Cedar Rapids. You can hear our phones going off as we are in Cedar Rapids. So we'll try to get those turned off for you. But again, Benton, Iowa, Johnson, and Lynn counties all in effect now for us for that tornado warning. This has been previously observed on the ground. It has now seemingly lifted, so we are going with radar indicated rotation. The National Weather Service is saying radar indicated rotation for us, but at this time it is still going to be a threat for a tornado. It continues to move to the northeast, pretty slow going for the most part, looking like we are dealing with, let's see, trying to get the text up here. Moving northeast about 40 miles per hour now, so moving a little bit faster for us at this time. But still, overall, with storm motion, kind of a slow-moving system for us. Again, near the Amana colonies, about 13 miles to the southwest of Cedar Rapids. That radar-indicated rotation for us, but it has previously been reported on the ground. We've had video of that tornado on the ground. That's something that we've showed you here. We continue to watch that potential for the tornado to maybe kind of touch back down onto the ground. Probably looking at this storm near Fairfax, Swisher, the airport here within the next short while. So those are all the areas that we continue to watch. Again, this is far southwestern parts of Lynn County. You can see highlighted there that the eastern Iowa airport is just kind of on the southern side of that track. So that is certainly a potential if you're in that area, in the Swisher, Shueyville areas, near the airport, that southern side of town. That's what we continue to watch for the potential as this storm continues to roll through. I can hear actually the sirens in Cedar Rapids going off now, which is another good reminder. I can hear the sirens very, very quietly because I'm inside, and those sirens are outdoor warning sirens. Those are outdoor warning sirens, so you should not be counting on those if you are inside. Those are made to be heard outside if you were out enjoying the day. Hopefully that is what got you, but that is not something that you should be counting on to alert you. That is what we are here for. That is what those phone alerts are for you. That is not something that should be alerting you to the potential for that severe weather. And again, this continues to roll through right now, in moving into southwestern parts of Lynn County for us at this time, continuing about 40 miles per hour, moving to the north and to the east. I wonder, Hannah, if we can have you checked out any of the Cedar Rapids city cams for us. Can we see anything from those yet?
I have looked at the Cedar Rapids city cam. I am not seeing anything facing south and east yet, but it was just overcast skies on the Cedar Rapids city cam, but I am keeping an eye on it.
Okay.
I'll put some times on there for you. About 2:27, that's when we're expecting the storm itself that's produced the tornado to arrive in Fairfax, the Eastern Iowa Airport around 2:30, so that's about 7 minutes from right now. Lincoln Way Village about 2:35, Cedar Rapids itself downtown about 2:41, Marion about 2:45. So again, we do have this storm in progress right now, as Jan had mentioned, that is now considered a radar indicated, but there's rotation within the storm enough that that could again produce a tornado. Still have not had any reports that I've seen come in or heard from our newsroom of any damage. We continue to watch that very carefully because we did show you the video earlier of the storm as it was moving across Interstate 80. Right now, the strongest of the storm itself, very near the Walford area, extending now along 110th Street to 220th. That would be crossing 120th Street Northwest as well. Current movement would put it very near Wright Brothers Boulevard very quickly over toward the Fairfax area, up toward the Eastern Iowa Airport on its current movement. We'll kind of put this in motion for you. You can kind of take a look and you can see that current movement again moves it toward Fairfax, Wright Brothers Boulevard, the Eastern Iowa Airport in a very quick fashion across the area. That's why that tornado warning is in effect now until 2:45. That means it goes for about the next 21 minutes, so about 21 minutes left in this current warning. That's your latest picture that we're seeing right now. We'll go ahead and take a look at the velocity, but as Jan had mentioned, this is a January storm. You just don't see an impressive couplet where you look for the winds moving in different directions. A little bit probably in the Walford area over toward where the strongest of that cell was found. Along with that, I think we mentioned you could likely see some hail within these storms as well, so kind of keep that in mind as these storms move through. There could be some hail as well. That probably was the primary threat with the storms as they continue to move through, but we're really watching that. And again, as we've been talking, if we are in your area, make sure, or if we've talked about a tornado warning in your area and you are under that tornado warning, make sure you are in a safe place. We want you to be safe as this storm moves through. As isolated it is in nature, it certainly can cause some problems. That would extend from Walford right now, just near Fairfax, heading toward the Eastern Iowa Airport. Going to pinpoint real carefully right now, and Hannah keeps taking a look at our city cams. Then we'll go over to Jan 2 for some of the safety rules. You see right now along Highway 151 as it moves from Walford, we are losing some of the reflectivity, which is good news. You notice there was some purples earlier, not quite as strong as far as the hail signature is concerned with the storm. Right near 120th Street, that would be very near Swisher. You should be in your safe area. If you're near the Eastern Iowa Airport in Fairfax, make sure you are. And then as we head toward the southwestern areas of Cedar Rapids, right along Edgewood Road Southwest, make sure you are also in your safe shelter as the storm continues off toward the east and northeast.
If we want to take a look at Max 2, we'll kind of go over some of those safety reminders again. Remember, if you are in this tornado warning area, so if you're watching us from Cedar Rapids, which is included in this, or any of those parts of Lynn, Johnson, Benton counties, remember, get to that lowest possible level, get into that interior most room. Even if you don't have a basement, still get to that lowest level that you can, get into a closet, a bathroom, something like that without those windows. Use anything that you have around you, maybe towels, blankets, pillows, things like that, to help kind of buffer and help protect yourself, and stay there until the threat has passed. Some people think maybe that second time the sirens sound, it means that the threat has passed. Not necessarily. So again, continue to stay there. We'll continue to keep you updated. That warning is still in effect for us and looks to stay that way until about 2:30. So we still have time left on this warning. That will continue to stay in effect for us here for a little while. And again, we'll continue to have updates here. If you are watching your TV upstairs and looking out your window and waiting, well, try to head downstairs. Take your phone with you. If you have that First Alert Weather app, that NOAA Weather Radio, those are all great sources. I also know our radio partners on KXEL are broadcasting us right now, so you can also hear us on there live on the radio, just like you would be able to hear us on TV. Just wouldn't necessarily be able to see the graphics, but we will still talk you through everything just like we would on here. That way, keeping everyone up to date with everything that continues to happen for us as the storm continues to move through. We'll take you back to radar, show you again the part of the storm that we're looking at. Looking across Eastern Iowa right now, there's only pretty much one area that we're dealing with the storm and really precipitation at all. And again, that's right around the Cedar Rapids area, Benton, Iowa, Johnson, and Lynn counties for us. Just about 15 minutes left on this warning. And again, it is now radar indicated, not dealing with a confirmed tornado anymore, but when it was moving through the Amana's area near Williamsburg, actually as it kind of crossed I-80, it was observed. If maybe we want to pull up that video again, kind of show you what we were looking at. You can see that we have had a observed tornado actually on the ground with this system even before it got into Linn County. So that's why we continue to have this warning extended with that radar indicated rotation, because it has had a history of producing tornadoes. It's also had a history of producing some small hail as well. All things that we continue to watch as this storm continues to move through the area.
Those would be in the Fairfax area, near the Walford area. That's kind of one of the areas right now we're watching for a little bit more rotation in this storm. Again, it maybe is a little broader than it was earlier. Again, we haven't had a confirmed tornado report for a while. Now, I do see that the National Weather Service, and confirm this with me, Jan, has expired the tornado warning for Benton, Iowa, and Johnson counties.
Yeah, so that first warning, you can kind of see that smaller box. It'll drop off here in just a second. But the part that includes Linn County, that one's still in effect for us.
Correct. So we still have one in effect. If you see that come through on any of your ways that you're getting the warnings, we still have the one that continues farther toward the north, and really the heaviest part of the cell right now extends from Fairfax over toward the Eastern Iowa Airport. There is likely some hail, and we've had several reports from the Amanas of pea-sized hail covering the ground. This would be just south of Wright Brothers Boulevard.
If you want to take max 1, that'd be great. There you go.
Really just south of Wright Brothers Boulevard. That likely is containing some areas of hail as well. That would be very near the Eastern Iowa Airport. We're heading up toward Collins Road as well as it moves farther toward the north. We noticed that the cell itself from Fairfax all the way down now just to the west of Swisher, that area is still included within the tornado warning, which does still include the city of Cedar Rapids, the city of Ely, Bertram, as well as Cedar Hills, over toward Linn Junction as well, as that system continues to move off toward the northeast. Let's go ahead and put it into motion for you. And you see that movement continues, at times kind of pulsing up a little bit, at times down. That would be maybe an indication of some hail in this storm, losing some of the hail and gaining some of that hail. Probably one of the bigger threats as these storms continue to move through. Again, still, as we said, just near the Swisher area, extending toward Fairfax. That's the area that really has the potential that there is rotation within the storm that could be, again, produce a tornado, as it has earlier, as we've seen with the video that we've seen. So far, still waiting for any damage reports to come in, if that storm was out over open fields or if it did indeed encounter some structures as that storm continued to move through. Very near the Eastern Iowa Airport right now, one of the areas probably producing some hail. Some of that rotation just west of Interstate 380, just off to the west of Ely. Movement continues to take that storm right toward Interstate 380. Definitely you do not want to be traveling. If you are out there in that area, you want to be in your safe spot. And as Jan was mentioning, get to that low level anytime a tornado warning is issued. I do want to mention that we do have a report from REC that there is no power for about 150 customers in Johnson County from the REC down there. So again, some power outages certainly as this storm has moved through. That could also be from some gusty winds or that potential damage from a tornado that moved through the area. This tornado warning goes officially until 2:45, so it takes us for about another 14 minutes or so as that movement continues right across areas of Linn County. So far, though, as we take a look, and you see our Cedar Rapids City Cam live there as well. Hannah's been manning our city cams, kind of taking a look, not seeing anything of consequence at this point from our Cedar Rapids City Cam, but still quite a ways away from the storm, and you can see a lot of rain obscuring the base of the clouds that we're watching as well. Hannah, any damage pictures or anything that you've seen come in at all social media wise?
So I've seen people sending in some pictures via burst that I'm working to put into our computer. We have Janet McCune sent in a picture of that lowering of the clouds south of Homestead in Iowa County. So we are seeing hail reports as well, pictures coming in from viewers from 1/4 to 3/8 size hail in Williamsburg. So continue to send in your pictures via our website on KCRG.com @U News. We'll be checking that to see all of the pictures you guys send in.
Cool. And you'll work to get those when you're ready to go,
Yes.
Hannah. Let us know and we can take a look at those as well. We thank you. But if you're going to send pictures from the storm or from damage, please do it safely. Wait till that storm passes for you to be safe. We want to keep you safe across Eastern Iowa as this storm continues to move through.
Yeah, so a reminder, you can submit those pictures safely, please, at KCRG.com/U News. You can also do that very easily on the First Alert Weather app. Just scroll down until you see that U News section, tap that, and that'll take you right where you need to be. If we want to check check out Max 2 here. I've been kind of watching the rotation in this storm here. So just to give you some context, this is where that storm is right now. So pretty much the center of that kind of over the eastern Iowa airport for us. But I'll tack on our velocity here, which is something that if you've, again, watched our storm coverage, you've kind of learned what that is exactly for us. But I'm going to go back in time a little bit. Is if you look off towards the Williamsburg area right here with this scan, you can see some kind of brighter colors with this. So you can see those brighter greens as well as the reds close to each other. That's where we had that observed tornado. As it's gone up to the north and to the east into the northwestern corner of Johnson County, kind of fades out a little bit for us. So that is good news. That means that is weakening for us, not as likely to maybe come back down to the surface, but still something that we are going to continue to watch. And obviously, again, that tornado warning does remain in effect for us until 2:45. So just because we're seeing that weakening, maybe not quite as likely that it's going to remain a threat, there is still a reason that warning remains in effect for parts of southwestern Linn County as well as northeastern Johnson County. The little bit of Benton County probably going to be allowed to get tacked off here pretty soon. You guys are pretty much out of the threat now, but again, tornado threat as well as that potential for some hail. Up to about an inch. We've had half-inch hail reports as well as quarter-inch sized hail reports come in so far for us. Looking like we did just get in another report from the National Weather Service that you can see the wall cloud from Cedar Rapids, but rotation not being observed, that one just from about a minute ago. So that's certainly some good news if we're not seeing that rotation. Maybe we can get that up on our city cam here in just a little bit and hopefully see what exactly they are looking at there. But that is the latest, it looks like, coming in from the National Weather Service for us. The good news is that it does look like while hail and rain will remain a concern and that tornado warning does stay in effect for about another 10 minutes, it does look like that storm continues to weaken.
Definitely some good news there, and hopefully that will continue to be the case. This is the video that we showed you a bit earlier. This is the Williamsburg-Amana exit right along Interstate 80. Very near that, you can see that tornado in the distance. The lowering and the touching down, making, again, that tornado present. And you can see as we watch that move right across Interstate 80, it certainly was out there. So that's why the tornado warning was issued. And with that, we continue to watch for damage. Right now, we have no damage reported from Iowa County officials as that storm was moving in. So again, we hope that continues to be the case, but definitely there was that tornado that we saw crossing Interstate 80. We thank whoever brought that video to us for continuing that. Just kind of glancing on our Cedar Rapids city cam as well. I'm kind of moving it around right now. If we can switch over to, you can't, because if we can switch over to the other city cam on Max 3.
So on Max 3, I actually have the viewer photo that is up from Janet McCune from Iowa County, south of Homestead. We can see in the picture the lowering of the clouds. It's too far away for me to say for sure if that lowering of the clouds is touched down at the point when the picture was taken, but you definitely can see the clouds lowering in the distance in the picture, Joe.
No, you definitely can. If you look just off to the right of that tree, you can see it in the distance. So certainly we thank Janet for sending it in again. We had the Amana certainly pinpointed for you as that storm was moving through as one of the areas we need to continue to watch. We're continue on the air right now, at least until 2:45 for about the next 9 minutes minimum. That says that tornado warning does continue. Kind of pinpointed the area of highest reflectivity, strongest part of the storm, as well as any potential rotation that extends now from south of Wilson Avenue Southwest in Cedar Rapids, all the way down to the Shueyville and Swisher exit along Interstate 380. That has now passed through and near the Eastern Iowa Airport, and we can see that very near 6th Street Southwest right now. Some of the highest returns are coming in. That takes us again very near Lincoln Way Village, getting over towards C Street Southwest, just off to the east of Edgewood Road Southwest. So this is moving to the west of the Stony Point development in Cedar Rapids, continuing to cross Interstate 380 right now. And as we take a look farther up towards Cedar Rapids, we can see that the city itself, as the movement would continue, let's go ahead and put this into motion for you over the last
City
let's
Cam.
go the last 30 minutes. You can see that we do again have that motion continuing off toward the east-northeast. This would take it very near Ely and Bertram. Ely and Bertram along Highway 30 as well, as we over toward Lisbon. So kind of keep that in mind. Everyone should be in their safe place, but the strongest cell right now is apparently, it looks like it will move maybe just to the south of the city of Cedar Rapids itself.
And a reminder, if you are in this warning area, what we need you to do is get to that safe place. Don't try to go outside and look for the storm. Get to that lowest possible level of your home. Get to that interior most room. Another thing, obviously, it's the middle of the workday. A lot of folks may be at work still. Get to that lowest possible level. Get to that interior most room. If you have things available to you like coats, blankets, maybe you have, pillows, things like that around, towels, all of those helpful. Again, even as this storm does continue to weaken for us, we do still have that potential, as it has produced a tornado here today, that we could still see that kind of cycling back through. So that's something we continue to watch. Don't, wait for the sirens to go off where you are. Maybe you haven't heard them yet for any reason. Do know that this is your warning. Don't wait for those. This is your warning here, and that is why that tornado warning is in effect. We have continued updates for you in many different places, including the First Alert Weather app, as well as with our radio partners. If you hear our forecast on the radio, you can always listen to them, and they will have updates for you as well here throughout the timing of this system. One thing I've actually been looking at here, just kind of a broad picture again for you of where this storm is. A lot of eastern Iowa not dealing with this, but Cedar Rapids area north of Iowa City still have that storm moving through. So if you're tuning in wondering why we're on and maybe things aren't too active where you are, this is the area that we're looking at is, again, southern parts of Linn County, northern parts of Johnson County for the most part that are under the potential threat for some severe weather. It looks like they have also just extended that a little bit more into, we'll check that out, Jones and Linn County now for you included in this. So that is going to be until 3:15 p.m. now for that warning. I'll try to get that warning text up and read a little bit in more detail. But again, until 3:15 now, including parts of Jones County as well. If you heard that alert go off, maybe your phone going off as well, alerting you to that warning extension. Looks like tornado radar indicated still for us, so not a new observation, but still radar indicated rotation possible, along with that quarter-sized hail. So both of those are that severe criteria for us. That storm continues to drift to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. Right now, kind of the main part of that storm, just passing over I-380, now mainly to the east of the eastern Iowa airport and headed off more towards the Ely area, Bertram as well, kind of that south and eastern side of the city of Cedar Rapids is the area that we're looking at. I'll check out that velocity picture again. Still not seeing a lot, but we do have a little bit of that brightening there, kind of between Eastern Iowa Airport as well as the Swisher areas. That certainly that potential for some rotation is going to be there. That's why that warning continues for us from the National Weather Service. Again, as we kind of have zoomed in really close to the street level, you can see Ely there on the right side of your screen, Lincoln Way Village there to the north, kind of down towards the C Street Ely Road corner. That's something we continue to watch as we move forward with this storm, moving up towards Bertram areas as well as Mount Vernon Road. Those are all areas looking like it'll probably track to the north and west of Lisbon. And for the most part, to the south and east of Cedar Rapids proper. But still, if you're on that southeast side, that is one of the areas that we are continuing to watch this storm as it tracks through. Again, right now, this is radar indicated rotation. But we have seen an observed tornado with this storm as it crossed over near Williamsburg and I-80 earlier on, just a short time ago. So we have been seeing that here. I wonder, Hannah, do you have any new pictures at all to show us?
Will indeed get them, but we can see, we've had hail pictures from the airport that I'm working to get into the computer. Lots of hail pictures around the Williamsburg golf course that people have been sending in. And hail isn't something that you want to dismiss either. With tornado warnings, we also oftentimes get hail pictures as well that I'll also put in here.
How big is the hail that you're seeing there, Hannah?
The hail that I'm seeing, it's not really that big. It looks like just little nickel-sized pellets that we're seeing on these pictures. However, it's still something that can damage property and something that we need to keep our eyes on.
Okay, so definitely not necessarily all the way up to that quarter-size hail. That's certainly some good news for us here with this storm as it continues to move through, but still obviously that main threat is going to be that tornado warning that has now been expanded into Linn County, also including parts of Jones County there. You can see kind of that little corner over by Highway 1 that has been included now. So obviously, again, that's farther down the line for this storm system, but something that we continue to watch here. Right now, you can see, again, the strongest parts of that storm moving just off towards probably Shueyville now about this time, mainly off to the east of Swisher, where you see those brighter purples and such, and then continuing up towards the Ely area. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and kind of put this back into motion here so you can kind of see the storm motion as it moves through.
Anna, can you bring up the North Liberty City Cam?
Yes.
So you can kind of see that storm motion as it continues to drift off to the north and east. Again, right now, about 35, 40 miles per hour for us, but that is the motion that we're watching with this storm system. If you are, again, on the back side of this, not really looking at much for really redevelopment back behind this, but those areas that are still to the north, to the east of where the system is moving. That's where that warning continues to be issued for. Again, downtown Cedar Rapids, I can hear those sirens going off again. A reminder that just because those sirens are going off is not that second warning. It's not that second time to say, hey, it's all clear. That's not how the sirens work for us. That is just saying, again, you need to be in your safe place, get to that lowest possible level. Looking at that North Liberty City Cam there that Hannah has up, looks like we can kind of see that lowering still pretty well there on the left side of your screen. Ooh, looks like we zoomed in a little too much there.
Yes.
All good. So that is exactly the storm we're looking at. So this is looking from North Liberty up to the north towards the Cedar Rapids area. There right in the middle of your screen. You can see that lowering there. Not seeing anything to the ground, which is good news.
Because we were looking for some debris or something coming up from the ground at this point, but that's the reason the warning is issued right there, live on our North Liberty City Cam. Many ways to follow the severe weather, but pretty impressive looking, so especially considering it is the
January 16th.
16th of January.
Yes, this is not something we would normally be dealing with on January 16th, but it has been a warm day, absolutely. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s. That is enough with those dew points able to spike up farther. Enough moisture, enough instability in the atmosphere for us right now to be able to fire off really just this one pretty robust little thunderstorm and moving right through the middle of the TV9 viewing area and impacting the Cedar Rapids area, Manna Colonies area earlier in Williamsburg as well. But the good news is, looking at our North Liberty City Cam, again, this is looking north towards Cedar Rapids, that we are not seeing that debris getting kicked up on the ground. So we are happy to hear that, but still, there is that potential that it could kind of cycle back through and reach back down because it has had a history of producing a tornado that was on the ground earlier on this afternoon.
And I think a really good warning issued by the National Weather Service to keep this going because of that. Keep everybody in their safe spots as this storm moves through. I hope we hear no other tornado touchdowns. If we can put that North Liberty Scam in the lower right-hand corner of our screen and put Max 1 up again, just want to take a look at the velocity product where, again, you look at the reds moving away, the greens moving towards. That means some of that rotation that we're seeing from what you're watching on our North Liberty City Cam, very near Lincoln Way Village. It looks just off to the northeast of the Eastern Iowa Airport. It'll move very close to Ely, south of Otis, heading toward Bertram. So it's right along Highway 30 as it moves off toward the east, as we can see, and continues that movement again. What were we at last thing? I think about 40 miles per hour. So it, again, some of the rotation within the storm as well. As we look back at the more traditional kind of reflectivity product that we look at. That's where you see some of that stronger part of the rotation of the cell. But you look a little farther to the south, and you also notice, as you look from near there by Ely, there we go. That's kind of the area right now. Also likely some hail within that storm. Again, we've had lots of reports of hail. I've seen that come through from the Amanas in many different places. But again, it looks like we are seeing, again, between south of Ely Road, all the way down, as we can see, just past to the south of Shueyville, kind of the strongest cells right now. Ely, kind of the pinpointed area that we've been talking about and watching that rotation. And Ely, definitely you should be in your safe area as that storm passes through State Street along Ely Road, moving from Club Road and Wright Brothers Boulevard. Kind of in that area is where we're finding, once again, the rotation within the storm that we've continued to follow. So be very, very careful in this area and make sure you are in a safe area as that storm continues to move through. Hail size now indicated at an inch or greater. That kind of makes sense as well from what we've seen. Again, as of this moment, have not had any other than hail reports, any damage reports. We do have a last report we've had, at least on some power outages, about 150 in parts of Johnson County without power as that storm was moving through. So that's the only thing we've seen so far. But of course, news crews are working, trying to gather information. They'll pass it on to us as soon as we can. Hannah working desperately on pictures, I know, of some of the hail and some of the things we've seen. We show that lowering earlier from the Amanas, and of course had that Interstate 80 video near the Williamsburg Amana exit, also showing you once again the storm, the lowering, the tornado that it was moving across the area at that time.
I just got a small hail report coming in from the Ely area. Fortunately, not a lot of wind reported with that. So that is certainly some good news that we're not dealing with much near the ground at this time. But again, that tornado warning is still in place because you can see kind of on that North Liberty City cam still that lowering in those clouds as we continue to watch those scans coming in. The basic reflectivity scan that we are used to, which is what you're seeing there on your screen now. Basically, you know, where the rain is the heaviest, I guess we'll call it. That is something that we are seeing as kind of intensifying again a little bit. It was seeming to weaken. We weren't seeing much of those purples left back behind, even some of those reds kind of waning a little bit, but still those purples are continuing to intensify a bit more. Looks like that warning was just kind of collapsed a little bit, but it's still in effect for most of the southeastern corner of Linn County. Again, that does include parts of Cedar Rapids. It moves up towards the Bertram area and then on into Jones County as well. So that's something we are still watching for us here right now at this time. A new report coming in from the Ely area that the hail kind of intensifying a little bit, larger hail, so closer to pea-sized hail. But again, still good that it is still just pea-sized hail. Obviously, if you're getting hail, that doesn't necessarily not to discount that, but it is good that it's not bigger, that storm system is not stronger and able to produce even larger hail for us at this point. Let's see. It looks like that tornado warning just still staying around, not extended, but just being continued. So basically, that the National Weather Service office kind of reassessing everything and choosing to keep that going. Right now, that storm near the Ely area, as we've been saying, moving up towards the northeast, about 30 miles per hour. So latest report of that confirmed tornado still when it was back by the Homestead and Williamsburg area, but still obviously seeing that storm, as we've seen on our city cams, that lowering still pretty pronounced, still enough rotation possible with that storm that it may be able to reproduce something. So continuing to watch that here as it drifts off to the north and east, moving about 40 miles per hour for us right now, but still just enough of that instability, that moisture in the air that it could be able to produce something else. The good news is as I've been looking at our the product that we call CAPE, or basically that storm energy, that has been slowly kind of waning as it's moving to the north and east. This doesn't have enough energy as much to be moving through to help it kind of be sustained. So that's good news, but that doesn't discount the fact that that warning is still in place for us and that it is being continued until at least 3:15 for us right now.
We do have a report now from the National Weather Service that 1 mile north of Williamsburg, a semi was blown over at marker 223, the Williamsburg exit, Interstate 80. So that's kind of where we were taking a look at that tornado moving through. We'll try to pull up our DOT cam in that area, see what we can find. That again, mile marker 223, Williamsburg exit and Interstate 80. The reports of a semi blown over. Of course, that would happen as that storm was moving through earlier, as we showed you, as it was crossing 380. Palisades Kepler, it looks like the rotating part of that storm, some of the strongest part of the storm, about 256. That is about 4 minutes from right now. Bryant Park at about 302. And that warning box that you do see issued, that is all the red box that's included. That goes until 3:15 officially as the storm continues to move off toward the east and northeast. We'll clear off the storm track on there for you, put it again into motion. And you can see that the majority of the cell now stretching from Bertram all the way down toward Ely. Looks like it moved just to the north of Solon, and then it'll be hitting Highway 1 as it continues its moving off toward the east and northeast. We'll kind of make this a little bit closer for you right now. And you can see that very near Lisbon, Mount Vernon as well is where this storm will pass. If you are anywhere from Bertram down toward Ely, over toward Lisbon, Mount Vernon, you definitely want to be in your safe shelter as this storm continues to evolve and move through. We take a look at our velocity product once again to see what we've got. And again, the Bertram area, maybe a little bit of rotation, something to watch. Again, it's very, very hard to distinguish rotation, as Jan was showing you earlier, as this storm is moving through, just due to the nature of the storm itself and the weak nature of the instability that's there. But there could be a little bit near, again, just north of Ely, near the Bertram area. That would continue to take it up farther off toward the east. A little bit of rotation, a couple other spots as well. But that lowering we've been watching from our North Liberty City cam, certainly still evident as well, as we can see that as we look toward the north and slightly off toward the east. I'm going to take a look right now, looking at our Mount Vernon City cam. Things look pretty quiet right now. We'll put the radar back up for you so you can see where that storm is located. And as Jan had mentioned earlier, this is really an isolated event. And this is the event. We're not going to see anything develop behind this. It was a very isolated potential, but every ingredient came together just right. And that's exactly what had happened in January for this to happen. And you see that extending from southern Lynn County, moving toward Jones County right now on its movement. I'm going to bring up and take a look off screen right now at our Solon City cam and see what we've got.
Yeah, you can see that there kind of in that lower corner.
You got it.
Looking pretty ominous for us, but I don't see anything too bad. Nothing that really reaches the ground, just kind of, again, those ominous seeming clouds, but nothing really that lowers to the ground. So again, that is good news for us that we're not seeing anything observed anymore. But there is that potential. It's, again, we have that nature of storms that they can kind of cycle through and reproduce. So even though as it continues to move through, even if it seems maybe like, oh, it's improving, it could still intensify somewhat. That said, looking at our reflectivity now, it does look like those really deep areas of reflectivity, so those purples and such, those look to be kind of backing off a little bit. That's some good news. Most of this storm now moving past the Ely area, kind of moving more into rural parts of southeastern Lynn County, mainly to the south of the Bertram area for us at this point, but still, as it continues to move through off towards Highway 1 and towards the Mount Vernon and Lisbon areas, as it continues to track to the north and east. We will continue to watch this as it still remains in effect, again, for about 20 more minutes till 3:15, 2:56 right now, so still about 20 minutes left on this warning as we continue to watch it. And because it's kind of had a little bit of that cyclical nature where it kind of intensifies, weakens a little bit, intensifies again, even though it hasn't necessarily dropped down again to produce another tornado, still I think we'll continue watching this pretty heavily for the duration of that warning because of that nature of that storm, and also just because it's January, you know, like this isn't necessarily something that has a lot of precedent. We can get tornadoes at any time of the year, any month of the year, any time of day, but this is certainly something that isn't necessarily the norm. I think everybody in Iowa, everyone watching kind of knows that.
One thing you can watch when you kind of look at where the strongest part of the storm has moved, you can look for where the hail has moved through. And if we switch back to Max 1, just taking a look at the recent hail path, developed near the Williamsburg area, as we saw, moved through the Amanas, and then hail just south of Walford over toward the eastern Iowa airport, now moving between Bertram all the way down, as we said, very close to Solon. That's where we've seen some of the hail in the storm as it continues to move through. Do have several reports of hail once again. Had a brief tornado report in the Ely area, a brief touchdown. And that's, again, with the nature with these types of storms, it would be very brief in nature. Generally does not stay on the ground for a long period of time. The Eastern Iowa Airport reports some hail pea-size, so quarter-inch. Hail lasted about 3 minutes. So again, we can see that as we take a look at where that hail was moving through the area. So it kind of gives you an indication where some of the strongest parts of the storm were. Now, Johnson County, those of you in Iowa City, it's to your north right now. The main area that we're watching, as you can see, extends in that box where the tornado warning is issued until 3:15. That extends near the Bertram area. We've been highlighting Bertram, highlighting all the way down just to the north of Solon. The Solon City Cam certainly showed plenty in the way of some cloud cover, some lowering of the clouds as well, looking off toward the north. Not uncommon as we've watched the storm move through. It does look probably just off near Mount Vernon Road right now, heading toward Mount Vernon and Lisbon. We're going to put a storm track on this for you as well. But first I want to take a look at what the velocity looks like within this system. And again, potentially some of a rotation still in the Bertram area, right along Highway 151 and Highway 30. That would be just southwest of West Mount Vernon Road. But again, very, very hard to distinguish, not kind of the classic rotation that you look for sometime in the storms. Let's widen the picture out for you a little bit. Have you seen movement, Jan? Are we still looking at about a 35-mile-an-hour movement or 40?
Yeah, that's the last update I have seen. Okay. Haven't seen anything new coming in, at least on speed of the storm.
We'll take the front edge of this and just kind of project it out, let's say for the next 20 minutes or so. What that would do is take it near Mount Vernon at about 3:05, so you're looking at about 6 minutes. Take it near Lisbon at about 3:08, so add about 3 minutes to that, and that's when it would be in the Lisbon area. That, again, the strongest parts of the storm, the potential for some hail would be there, and that potential rotation that we've been talking about as well, as that storm continues to move off toward the east and northeast, roughly about 40 miles per hour. Main reports we've seen so far, we had some power outage reports in portions of Johnson County, about 150 people out of power. Also had numerous reports of some hail, generally pea-size is what I've seen so far from the reports that have come through. And we did have one report of a semi blown over at marker 223. That's near the Williamsburg exit and Interstate 80. Those are the three type reports that we've had from the storm as it continues to move through. Let's clear everything off for you, give you kind of a wide picture, and you can see that storm kind of moving through portions of Linn County right now, heading toward Jones, northern areas of Cedar County. If it does hit Cedar County, it'd be the far, far northwestern corner. Does look like portions of it will certainly move through Jones County. So looking ahead, there'd be Olin, that'd be just probably to the south of Anamosa, heading toward Wyoming, Oxford Junction, just probably to the south of Center Junction. Could move through portions of the Mechanicsville area, near the Clarence area as well, as we move through northern areas of Cedar County. But again, as you kind of look at that, it is a very isolated area. Nothing severe as we head up toward Delaware and Buchanan County. Dubuque County right now so far just seeing some areas of very light rain. You go south of Interstate 80 right now. In fact, generally along and south of Highway 30 for the most part, it's pretty much clear in the area. This one area, and this is the event that we said potentially could happen, and indeed that's what we've seen. One tornado that has been confirmed that kind of moved through or could have touched down that same system a couple different times, and the numerous reports of some pea-sized hail. We showed you again that video that we saw the tornado, as well as some of the lowering sent in from folks in the Amanas. Do we have any of those pictures ready yet, Hannah, or are we still waiting?
So when we see, I've been watching the city cams, and when we have the city cams up, we can see that on our Mount Vernon city cam, we've got some ominous looking clouds out there, and this is facing just to the southeast of our Mount Vernon city cam, pointed toward the storm, and that is where we're seeing some of the lowering of looking off in the distance. It looks like some of the clouds look like they could be a little bit lower. What do you guys think looking at that city cam?
Pretty obscured by the trees. It's kind of hard to tell in that area what we're seeing. Do we have any of those hail reports or any of the pictures and stuff that we've got in yet?
So when we have the city cams up, I wanted to make sure that the city cam was indeed up, and when the city cam is up, I cannot put the pictures into our Max computer.
Let's go ahead and go to Max 1. We'll give you a chance to put those pictures in Max 3 so we can take a look at those as well. There's what you see right now. Again, the tornado warning still continues in its radar indicator. We haven't had a confirmed, we had a brief confirmation potentially near the Ely area. Let's see if I can find what time that was. That was back around not 2:56. They're about 2:54. So again, that was a brief potential about 8 minutes ago or so, and then we continued to look farther off when that was near the Amana area. We had certainly some confirmed reports of a tornado, and certainly in the Williamsburg area. It seems like that's where everything kind of developed from. We kind of watched that storm develop there and head off toward the east-northeast. Certainly right now, and we've seen this before, Jan, it's losing some of its reflectivity, which would indicate a brief weakening, but it's kind of pulsing up and pulsing back down. So just about the time you think, hey, this is losing some of that, but eventually it's going to run out of some of the instability that was there, because not everyone got the moisture that we've seen in the far southeast part of the state into the east central part of the state, as well as that potential for, again, some of the cells to just continue as that rain kind of moves through and kind of cools the air as well.
You bring up a good point with that instability that's available to that storm. If we check out Max 2 here, I'll kind of explain a little bit of the science here of what we're looking at with that available storm energy, something we call CAPE, if you've ever heard us talk about that. So you can see where those reds are, that's where we're highlighting it. Now, obviously this is on the low end of that. It's on that red side of the spectrum, which is that lower side. Again, this is the same product we use in the peak of summer when we have a lot of energy around for those storms to fire off of. So while it is low, basically we're just saying that there is still some energy available to that storm, but you can see where it is. It's south of the Cedar Rapids area, closer down towards where we've been looking, closer towards the Eastern Iowa Airport, towards Ely. This has kind of shifted a little bit, and it'll continue to kind of follow that storm somewhat, but it is still pretty light in nature, not a lot of energy for that storm to really be able to work with so much. So again, widening out that picture for you, showing you the live pinpoint Doppler radar across all of eastern Iowa. Most of our viewers, if you're watching this right now, you are going to be okay. I think for the most part, this storm kind of past the Cedar Rapids area for the most part now, as we kind of zoom back in, show you exactly where we're looking there. There is still obviously going to be some rain coming down, and lightning will continue to be a threat for us here as those storms move through. But the rotation, the tornado itself, that is now into the eastern parts of Linn County, moving off Bertram now kind of on the backside of this warning at this time, and continuing to drift off closer towards the Mount Vernon and Lisbon areas where we're seeing those deeper, darker areas of reflectivity. But even when I say deeper and darker, we have seen this kind of weakening somewhat. Earlier, it was a lot more intense in seeing those purples coming through, those brighter colors that we had been dealing with. So that much is continuing to weaken, but again, that's not an all clear by any means, as we have seen the very cyclical nature of this storm. As it continues to drift off to the north and east, it'll kind of weaken a little bit and come back a little bit more. So even just a couple scans ago, as I kind of backtrack a little bit, you can see just how much stronger it was there. And even now in our new scans, it looks like it may be intensifying even just a little bit more again as it passes just past and over Mount Vernon Road, off towards Highway 1. Certainly could see a little bit more of some intensification from that. I'll check out that velocity product for us once again. Earlier on, we were seeing some of those kind of brighter greens with this. Still not seeing anything too clear cut from this, which honestly for this time of year, not super surprising. It's mid-January at this point. We wouldn't expect to see a really good radar signature from something like this, but still just enough of that moisture and instability available for this storm to be able to work with things and to be able to continue to fire things off. We'll kind of go over that warning again, just reminding you as to why we're here and why we're on. We have that tornado warning for Lynn County. That's mainly the southeastern corner of Lynn County, as well as the southwestern corner of Jones County, in effect until 3:15 as the storm continues to move northeast at about 35 miles per hour. Right now, that is radar indicated rotation, as we just kind of looked at there on that velocity scan, but this storm has had a history of producing tornadoes, and it did so back towards Williamsburg, Homestead as well. It looks like we've just had that warning now extended further into Jones County. So if we can load that up here, we'll see what the latest updates are with this storm. Looks like, all right, so for Cedar, Jones, and Lynn County now until 3:30 p.m. For that severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, located over the Mount Vernon area, 9 miles west of Mechanicsville, and moving northeast about 40 miles per hour. So very similar storm motion with this as well. We've been highlighting those areas of Mount Vernon and Lisbon here for some time, kind of giving you that advanced warning, that first alert, to let you know that that storm continues to move through. If you look at kind of the angle of that warning, you can see it's tilted just a little bit more to the east than to the north. That's something also that we kind of start to see with some of these storms as they start turning to that direction. And so that's obviously just kind of a classic thing that we're going to be seeing with this storm. Shifting a little bit more, maybe along Highway 30, but I think still drifting to the north just enough that hopefully shouldn't impact travel there too much as it continues to move through the area. Let's see. If you know anyone near Palisades Kepler, that would definitely be something that to let them know that the storm is moving into their area. If they were maybe knew someone who was trying to go out hiking on this nice warm day, maybe give them a call. Let them know that there is a storm that is headed their way. Still have quarter-sized tail tagged onto this storm as well. We've seen plenty of reports about pea to maybe dime-sized hail, a lot of reports of that, but I haven't seen any reports of larger hail. Again, that's certainly some good news that we're not getting larger hail reports with this storm system as it continues to move through the area. Right now, we haven't had any further confirmation of any tornadic activity on the ground, just that brief touchdown near the Ely area, as well as a longer touchdown when it was back towards the Amana colonies and in Williamsburg, moving through Homestead. We had a picture earlier on that we were showing you of the Homestead area that we were checking out there as well. Do you have any new information coming in on your end, Joe?
Nothing that I've seen right now. I am going to pull up. Let me go to my... Just want to take a look at what the sky is looking like in a couple of places. We've been following the storm in many ways, and one way we follow it, of course, is on our city cams. Gives you a look in many locations across eastern Iowa. Not just one camera. We have many cameras covering eastern Iowa, and as we've watched the storm, we've certainly followed that with you. You can see that it's very near the Lisbon area, now off to the east of Bertram, as Jan had pointed out. You're looking at now, if we go to Max 1, that's a live picture from our Mount Vernon city cam. Now let's go ahead and call that one up, and I can move that a bit so we can take a look once again at what we're seeing. We certainly see some heavier rains beginning to move into the Mount Vernon area right now, and I wonder if we can leave that up with the radar as well, just to kind of give us an indication of what we're looking at the same time. Let's see, I'm just going to move that and see. We'll head off toward the south and ultimately over toward the west. Certainly seeing plenty of rain, as we can see. Again, not seeing much in the way of lowering right now. As we head a little farther toward the west, we get past. And again, our view is obscured a little bit with the terrain in Mount Vernon as it rises off toward the west itself. But again, as you look then farther off to the north, which is away from the storm. But definitely some areas of heavy rain, and not seeing anything in the way of a lowering right now in that area. Still, though, under that tornado warning now that continues until 3:30. So again, that's live from Mount Vernon City Cam, and you see that storm itself just beginning to move off toward the east, as Jan mentioned, a little more east than rather northeast. Avoided the Cedar Rapids metro areas that moved through, and I will say as of this time have not had any other than a semi that was blown over, any type of damage report at all, which is what we would love to be able to report as that storm continues to move through.
And again, that's mainly because it's been over fairly rural areas. So not to say that storm hasn't been packing a punch where it has been, but we just haven't gotten in a lot of damage reports with this storm so far. Now, obviously, if the storm has passed your area, if you're in the Ely area, the Amana Colonies area, Williamsburg, and you do have any damage, please send us your reports. We would love to be able to relay those and keep other people safe, and also we'll pass those along to the National Weather Service and make sure they know when they're doing their storm survey that you have a damage report to share. So you can always, call into the newsroom, send us an email, and also submit your pictures. If it's safe to do so, you can do that at kcrg.com/unews or on the First Alert Weather app. Just scroll down until you see the unews section on your app, and you can submit them there. But again, a reminder: only do that if it's safe to do so. But anything that's helpful to us is, if you have tree damage, if you had any property damage at all. If you have any hail, even just telling us the size of the hail that you have, again, comparing it to those common day items like coins or, peas and even M&Ms, something like that is a helpful thing to do for us to just be able to relay that information and for the National Weather Service to be able to put that into their storm surveys. But again, a reminder that only do that if it's safe to do so, if that storm has passed your location. So where that storm is right now, mainly towards Mount Vernon and Lisbon areas, just off to the north of those right now, moving from Lynn County into Cedar and Jones County in the next couple of minutes. That's where we're looking at that storm right now. Just about along Highway 1, really in the Mount Vernon and Lisbon areas is right where that is at this time. So again, if you are back in the Cedar Rapids area, if you had been watching us from Ely or Bertram, Eastern Iowa Airport, and even further back towards Amana or Williamsburg, you guys are clear at this point. This is, as Joe said earlier, this is the event. Mm-hmm. We're not looking at a lot coming back behind in terms of strong storms, maybe just a little bit of scattered shower activity, but then the strong storms are basically with this cluster that we have moving through kind of the central parts of eastern Iowa right now.
And again, we'll continue to follow this. We have our newscast, of course, coming up at 4 o'clock. Right now, the warning continues for northern Cedar, far eastern areas of Lynn, as well as Jones County. That is in effect until 3:30. That's the larger red box that you see. The red and white box that you see, again, was the earlier warning. So it's again a progression of tornado warnings as it continues to move through. And that will take it through the Morley, Olin area. I'll take it near Mechanicsville, moving through Lisbon, Mount Vernon at the present time. And again, as we showed you live on Mount Vernon City Cam, it certainly is showing some heavier rains. I'm just glancing off screen at the Mount Vernon City Cam right now, and again, it does not show any particular lowering as this system is moving through, but definitely some rain falling in the area, and we'll continue to watch that carefully, both with you on screen and off screen as well as that storm continues to move through, but definitely some rain moving through the Mount Vernon area.
Also, Joe, I have a few viewer pictures to show that I got off of uNews. So the first is this picture from Max Turner, reporting quarter-size hail in Williamsburg. You can see the hail littering the sidewalk and the grass from the storm in Williamsburg. We also had hail reports at the Eastern Iowa Airport, thanks to Todd Gibbs. You can see the hail on the sidewalk there, the hail really on that gray sidewalk there that we're seeing with the dark clouds over the airport in the distance. And then this picture was sent in from Juan from Ely. We can see that this picture is good because it has a comparison for size. We see the penny in the picture, and all of the hail surrounding the penny is smaller. So we are seeing some small hail reports from Ely, and we're getting in more viewer pictures, and I'll have those coming up as well. Really a good thing that you all are sending in pictures via UNews.
But and make sure you do that safely. You can send it through UNews on the KCRG First Alert weather app, or of course on KCRG.com. Make sure you're doing it safely, though, as that storm passes. We really appreciate the comparison as well, as Hannah mentioned, so we can see kind of the size of that hail. And then, generally, the hail that we've seen has been pea-sized. There's been a lot of reports of anything larger than that. Haven't had any big wind gust reports. Had they tornado reports? Certainly. And that's why we came on the air for you and continue on the air now with that tornado warning in effect. But it's been a while since we've seen a tornado report itself, and it looks like this storm, again, maybe losing that potential. But at least until the 3:30 area or 3:30 time frame, we're going to continue to follow that as well through northern Cedar and now into mainly areas of Jones County. Quite honestly, Lynn County, Lisbon, Mount Vernon area, still moving through. And then after that crosses out, it will be across Highway 1 entirely. And then it will continue to move through southern Jones, far northern areas of Cedar County. Not going to hit you in Tipton. Tipton, you're far enough to the south. And it looks like right now current movement would keep it just to the north of Clarence as well. Heading toward Olin. Eventually, if it did continue its movement, Oxford Junction, Wyoming, those would be a couple of areas you want to watch too as that storm moves through. Looks like the main cell as well will move to the south of the city of Anamosa.
Sorry, just trying to check out some of our other city cams here, see if we can see anything else, which doesn't look like I'm really seeing too much from those. So kind of that view we were showing you from the Mount Vernon city cam seems to be one of the better ones for us here at this time. But still continuing to track that storm as it moves through, just pretty much exiting Lynn County now. So that's certainly good news for viewers in Lynn County. You are pretty much in the all clear now. But Jones and Cedar County, that is where we're watching as this storm continues to progress to the north, to the east, as moving mainly to the south of Anamosa. But again, as Joe mentioned, the Olin area, it's moving to the northeast about 40 miles per hour roughly. So not moving super fast for us at this time, but still there's been enough moisture, enough instability in the air with the warm January day that we've had that we are going to have this warning at least seemingly continued for another 12 minutes. That's what the National Weather Service has issued it for, is until 3:30. Latest report coming in from the Lisbon area of about 1/4 inch hail. So that is pea-sized hail, and again, just about 1/4 inch for us here at this time is what we're dealing with.
If we take a look again at the velocity product, we're not noticing a lot. The main areas of any rotation in the storm right now would be from the Martell area farther down south toward the Lisbon Mount Vernon area. But again, it's very isolated in nature. So certainly across southern Jones County right now, something to watch. Across far northern areas of Cedar County, something to watch. But again, not extremely well defined right now. We do see some general lowering in spots as we take a look across portions of eastern Iowa. But again, nothing as far as been quite a while since before 3 o'clock since we had the last really potential tornado report. And then, of course, that confirmed tornado as it moved near the Williamsburg as well as the Amana areas a bit earlier on. Take a look at the reflectivity. That kind of shows you again that the cell itself has moved out of most of Lynn County right now. The one exception would be far, far eastern areas of Lynn County. Now has moved through the Mount Vernon and Lisbon area. So you are now in the clear, and they have certainly updated that box as well to indicate that. It looks like the majority of that is now in Jones as well as Cedar County. So that would be close to the Mechanicsville, Morley area. If you're in those areas and a tornado warning is in effect, we do want you to take it seriously. And as we've been pointing out, the places you need to go, keep this in mind. It's January, I know, but there'll be more severe weather certainly as we head through the year. Go to the lowest level of your home, get under something sturdy, grab your bike helmet, cover yourself with blankets or pillows, avoid windows, doors, and outside walls, and stay in that area until the tornado warning has passed your area. If you have no basement, small interior room, of course, is the place to be to keep you the safest as the storm continues to move through. Latest indication, we've been mentioning the Morley area, about a 40 mile per hour speed. So we're going to go ahead and highlight that for you, and we will put a storm track on it as well so that we can see when that storm will be moving through. Again, it's been very isolated in nature, just on the far southern portion of these cells as they develop near the Williamsburg area. So let's see, let's pinpoint that real close for you. And you can see that there's Morley, so in that area. So we're going to go ahead and take it out probably for about 20 minutes or so. We're just going to highlight this whole area just to the north within the box, all the way down where you could potentially see that strong storm. That takes it out for about the next 20 minutes or so. So you would see it arriving in Morley right around 3:23. So we are once again looking at that potential. Probably maybe 3:25. That's about 4 minutes from right now. Olin, that storm arrives about 3:33. Hale about 3:40, and Wyoming about 3:45. So again, that gives you some ideas of when that cell will be there. We want you to be in your safe place, though. Again, tornado warning is in effect. Have not had any reports for quite some time of anything that has been touching the ground. Rotation itself still present enough that the National Weather Service continues to leave that tornado warning in effect. And as we always tell you, anytime a tornado warning is in effect, make sure you're in the safest place you can be. We want you to stay safe as that storm moves through. Isolated in nature, let's take a look. Dubuque, you have seen some rain. There's been some rain falling in the area. This cell itself will move to your south. Probably not going to have to worry about much in the way of severe weather. This is the event, as we talked about. It will be losing all of the intensity that we built up as far as the instability, and there was just enough in one spot that it happened. Once the sun continues to set, and again, 4 o'clock, 4:30, 4:37 or so, and our sun sets tonight, that will lose any threat, and this storm system appears to be moving off before that time, off toward the east and northeast. So again, very isolated in nature. Some rain still out there, certainly, and we'll continue to watch the system evolve and move through, but you can see it continuing to move off toward the east-northeast as it heads up toward Delaware County, Dubuque County. Certainly going to see some stronger rains move through the area. We'll continue to watch it if something could certainly get strong. Hail certainly a possibility of these storms as well. As we've seen so far, the majority of the hail, though, has really been more pea-sized hail, about 1/4 inch in intensity. Once again, let's take a look at the video that we showed you earlier of why we've been on the air. You can watch from the right side of your screen to the left side of your screen. That's the tornado as it crossed Interstate 80 near the Williamsburg exit. Near the Amana exit, as it was moving through. The person taking the video safely stopping off to the side, waiting for that to move through, because that's what you need to do. You want to be driving into it, certainly. And with that, we did have one report in that area also of a semi being blown over as that storm moved through. Have no word on any other damage as well. Traffic there, though, I understand, is back to normal, so they certainly have been able to move that or upright it and get it in an area where traffic can move just fine through. But you can see that lowering of the clouds, the tornado, when it does touch the ground, moving across the interstate. Once again, that's Interstate 80 near the Williamsburg as well as the Amana exit.
Yes, we continue to track that tornado warning area again. Radar indicated for us here at this time, but now out of Linn County and moving through Cedar and Jones County for us. As Joe has kind of highlighted there near the Morley area, eventually moving towards the Olin area, and mainly to the south of the Anamosa area. That's what we're looking at right now. But right now, there's, reflectivity, is, you can see it there in just that loop, that it's continuing to kind of lighten up a little bit. Continuing to see those deeper, darker purples and darker reds fading off. That is good news. We've seen it kind of cycle through a couple times, though, already in our coverage here this afternoon, that it starts to weaken and intensify again. So continuing to watch that, seeing if it is able to intensify again. Hopefully it just continues to weaken, though. That would certainly be some good news for us here.
And we want to thank our viewers who have been watching us on the CW. We're going to return you to regular programming with that storm now moving out of the Linn County area and kind of weakening in nature. Certainly, if we need to come back on, we certainly will. But thank you to our CW viewers for joining us as well for our coverage today. We continue as well here on KCRG with our tornado warning until 3:30. So it's about the next 5 minutes or so. We're going to watch this at this point. I'm not expecting them to continue this. We'll watch and see. They certainly have it out for a wide area right now until 3:30 with the lack of reports, and have not seen anything as far as any area of really strengthening as the storm moves through. Haven't had any big reports of rotation in this storm.
Looks like we did get a funnel cloud report near the Martell area from emergency management just a short time ago. So maybe we can check that out, see if there's... So that would be Martell right there along Highway 1. Again, that was relayed to us about 3:24. So I'm guessing that's a somewhat delayed report since most of the storm is past that area here at this time. But Just the latest report coming in, a funnel cloud quarter-mile west of Martell, it looks like. So again, still enough energy in this system to be able to produce that funnel until it touches the ground. Obviously not a tornado, but even if it is, if there's enough energy for that funnel to be able to be produced, then certainly still good reason that we're watching this system and why that tornado warning does remain in effect, even if it doesn't seem like there's much happening. That's why we continue to talk about this and why that warning is still in effect from the National Weather Service.
And it goes until 3:30, and we see from the just north of Mechanicsville, looks like the cell itself will move north of those of you in Mechanicsville, just north of Highway 30. It's taking a little bit more maybe northerly track right now through areas of Jones County, continues off toward the north and northeast in the Morley area, over toward Olin, or Olin, I should say, and then eventually would head farther off toward Wyoming as that storm continues to move through.
I have more hail photos from viewers in the area. The first is from Teresa Fetzer. This is a picture from southwest Cedar Rapids. We can see that hail is littering her lawn, and we can also see that hail does still appear to be pretty small, the hail that she sent in from southwest Cedar Rapids. The next photo is from Sandy Swenson. She is from Walford. We can see hail on her, what looks to be her back porch. Again, small size hail is what we're seeing with this particular storm littering her back porch. We're also seeing hail out on the lawn behind the back porch by trees and on the grass. More pictures from Walford, just that small little size hail from Pennybrooks, pea-size hail. This is again from Walford. We'll continue to have more hail pictures, and I'll show all the pictures coming up in our shows at 4 and 5.
Thank you, Hannah. We appreciate that, and we appreciate all of you that are sending those in for us. Did want to let you know how this storm affects other things in eastern Iowa. It did affect one flight coming into the eastern Iowa airport. American Airlines Flight 3432 from Chicago was scheduled to land at 2:30. It was diverted to Des Moines. If you had friends, family, or relatives on that flight, it has landed safely in Des Moines again. That was American Airlines Flight 3432 from Chicago, diverted to Des Moines. It was a 2:30 expected arrival, has landed safely in Des Moines. As we take a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar, we can see that we still have some areas of rain out there. I do see from the National Weather Service now, though, that they have officially, although it still appears on our map, they have canceled the tornado warning.
It will be allowed to expire, I think, at 3:30 officially. So, yeah, that is certainly some good news. It doesn't look like they will be continuing it. That it has weakened enough for us, but again, still about 2 more minutes left on that warning. And we did have that recent report just about 4 minutes ago that there was still a funnel cloud being produced by that near the Martell area. So while it does appear that this warning will be allowed to expire at 3:30, we may have to come back and chat with you again if they are reissuing that, if it's able to intensify again, because it has had that cyclical nature. But we'll continue to monitor that here and in the weather lab, and obviously always continue to break in if we have new updates to give you. And we've got plenty of other ways that you can get that information as well, online, on your First Alert weather app, all kinds of things that we are doing to keep you updated at all times.
I want to give you one more chance, if we can, with the video that we had from Interstate 80. That was the tornado. That's the reason we came on the air and been with you. We followed it from when that was issued near the Williamsburg area, and this is near the Williamsburg exit, as that tornado was crossing Interstate 80, headed toward the Amanas, then moved up towards southern areas of Lynn County, headed into portions of Jones and Cedar County. That storm itself. So again, that was the storm itself, and that's why we've been on with you and continue to watch the weather. And as Jan mentioned, even though the warning itself will be allowed to expire, and it just has expired now at 3:30, we'll be here watching and always make sure you are staying up to date on the weather situation. So again, you have many places to receive weather information from. We thank you for trusting the First Alert Storm Team. On behalf of meteorologist Jan Ryherd, meteorologist Hannah Messier, we thank you. We'll have a complete First Alert Storm Team update coming up on our TV9 News at 4. Stay with us here on your trusted local news and weather source, KCRG-TV9.